So welcome back to this week's episode. Today I'm going to be pulling back the curtain on something that has completely transformed the way that I grow my business and honestly, the way that I live my life. It's called the Energetic Expansion Protocol. Now don't go running away. It sounds fancier maybe than it is, but I promise you this is going to be a way of living and a way of thinking for you that is going to just blend everything that I talk about regularly in my content around strategic tools and pair it with the other part of the equation. Now, these are the daily and weekly practices I use to align my mind, my body, and soul with the big vision that I'm building. So if you've ever felt like you're doing all the right things, but you still feel stuck or like you're pushing a boulder uphill, this episode is for you. And so if you feel like you are doing everything right, you're posting, you're emailing, you're building and launching, but somehow it still feels like it's not quite landing, imagine instead being the woman who magnetizes opportunities, whose ideal clients drop into her world and growth happens organically. Not because she's working harder, but because she's embodying a different energy altogether. Now, hustling harder isn't the path to higher incomes. Expansion is. So I want you to picture two women potentially launching the same program or the same offer. One is frantic behind the scenes. She's overthinking, she's overposting, she's doubting herself. She's stuck in fear and scarcity and she's overworking. She's just putting everything into her launch. The other moves with calm certainty. She protects her energy like it is the most valuable asset. Guess who the clients gravitate towards? Spoiler alert, it's not the one who's hustling harder. Your energy is the signal you send into the marketplace, louder than any caption or funnel. You can either broadcast static or a beautiful symphony. So today I'm going to pull back the curtains on the energetic practices that fuel my business and my life, and it's what I call the Energetic Expansion Protocol. This isn't just what keeps me moving forward, it's what transformed me from a hustling, overworking, and burned out entrepreneur into a life-first CEO who builds from alignment with so much more ease and real momentum. I really believe strategic scaling needs a foundation, and that foundations isn't just spreadsheets and plans and launches. It's the energy we hold in our bodies, in our minds, and our hearts day after day. And that's what authentically shines through to your audiences. Now, this protocol is made up of 5 either daily or weekly practices that anchor me into the woman that I am becoming. These practices help me really align the fuel that's going inside my body, my movement every day, my mindset, the mental space that I need to be creative, and my embodiment of my goals. So I'm going to dive into each one of the 5 pillars. The first one is all around fuel. I call this body fuel because you can't lead a big vision on an empty tank. I know firsthand when I'm rushing or skipping meals, grabbing junk food, and my energy dips, and so does my belief in myself. And when I fuel my body with beautiful, colorful, nourishing food, water, some of my supplements, my body feels strong and my vision feels inevitable. Because success is a real physical experience first, not just a mental one. You wouldn't pour gasoline into a luxury car and expect it to fly down the highway. Your body is the vehicle for your dreams and you need to fuel it accordingly. So I want you to really think about how you can think like a CEO and really be fueling yourself for your high performance and optimal growth and optimal performance every day. The second part of the protocol is around movement. Now, movement is non-negotiable, not to fit into a smaller pair of jeans, but to move stuck energy and move energy continuously through my body. When I skip movement, doubt and fear and scarcity always creep in. Now, some days it's a strength workout. I do a lot of strength training. I'm at that age where I need to be lifting some weights. Some days it is just a brisk walk. And on those days when I cannot get away from my desk or out of the house, which is fairly rare, I do make sure that I'm dancing in my kitchen or I'm doing something silly with the kids. Movement really clears emotional clutter. Just sense that feeling of after you've had a good dance in the kitchen and the music is on loud, how good you feel. It makes space for higher thoughts and so many better decisions. Now, energy that gets stuck, it's getting stuck from things like fear, where our nervous system starts to kick into fight or flight and becomes stagnant. But energy that moves becomes power. Think of a flowing river versus a stagnant pond. One moves and supports life. The other gets cloudy and murky and breeds mosquitoes. Your energy is the same. So it's really key to intentionally be setting some time aside every single day to be moving your body. And that is the protocol number 2. The next step is all around mindfulness. Now, I'm clearly not the first person to be talking about mindfulness, but mindfulness, the way that I see it, can work on so many different levels. It really is the anchor that keeps me steady when storms come rolling through. I use things like breath work or little 5-minute meditations. I use quick visualizations. I even have an app that's called Activations, and that really helps lift me. I have a really strong self-awareness, and the more that you do this work, you can hear yourself, you can feel yourself in terms of what you actually need. So I tap into my big toolbox of all my different tools that I have to help me keep a real present mind. The queen bee in our business doesn't panic when the hive gets noisy. She stays rooted, she stays centered, and she stays strategic. And mindfulness really helps keep me in my queen bee energy, leading with so much more clarity instead of reacting from chaos. Because we know entrepreneurship is a roller coaster. It is amazing one day, and then all of a sudden you get an email and you're like, no, everything feels like shit's hitting the fan. But calm really isn't a luxury. It is a leadership skill. You can't architect an empire when you're spinning out like a tornado. Mindfulness really grounds you like bedrock and is so essential for you to find the things. Some people say to me, I hate meditation. Okay, you might not be great at meditation. When I first started, and I still use guided meditations, I started with 2 minutes and I did 5 minutes, and maybe now I do 10 minutes, and it really brings me back to center. I've found some good people that I like to guide me, and I go back to those people time and time again. So find your tools. Inside my programs, incidentally, I do teach and I do give suggestions and give a lot of my clients the tools to be able to do this, because this is some days 80% of the equation. It's not just 50-50 with your strategy. Some days you really need to tap into becoming that person who has those beautiful dreams and behaving like her, and making sure that you are behaving like her so you are magnetizing those opportunities. The minute you go down a spiral, it happens to all of us, is the minute that you need to pick yourself up. You need to pick the right tool and get back into a state of equilibrium. Now, the fourth protocol is all about creating space in your mind. And sure, becoming more mindful and doing breath work and meditation and different nervous system regulating activities will absolutely do this as well. But this is a really crucial way for you to be able to be more creative and really expand from within. And it is called mind space. Mind space is about protecting my mind from constant input. One of the biggest mistakes I used to make was filling every spare second with podcasts and trainings and social media noise. I have really had to put some super strong boundaries for myself and really think about, when I go out for a walk, what do I need? What does my body and what does my mind and my soul need right now? Does it need another training? Does it need some mind space? Do I feel constricted creatively? If that's the answer, then I know I need to go on a silent nature walk. So now I create this white space, especially when I'm outdoors and in nature. I really need to do this to let my ideas rise up from within. It's like when you're in the shower or in the car, when you're walking out in the forest behind my house, instead of constantly being influenced and infiltrated by others' opinions. Now, walking in nature without earbuds is really important. When I go out into the garden, I do that without my AirPods. It's about getting my hands in the soil. It's about listening to what's going on around me and letting the thoughts flow through. It is also about simply breathing and noticing. This is where some of my best strategies and content downloads actually happen. So your next level really isn't found in someone else's podcast. It's found within you. So imagine trying to hear like a whisper in a really crowded concert hall. That's what your intuition feels like when you're constantly consuming. So find space every day, and if you can't get outside, or it's pouring rain, or there's snow outside and you can't find that space, you can always find space in your own home. And one of the other activities that I do when I am really self-leading and really embodying my life first approach is I absolutely find time for things that create joy. That is, for me, that might be baking, that might be, like I said, gardening. When you're doing those things, that is also a way to create mind space, and it has a huge impact that is backed by science and research that shows that when you are engaging in those kind of activities and hobbies and things that you absolutely love doing, they have a huge impact on your energetic frequency. Now, the fifth protocol is all about goal embodiment, and I'm going to explain what that actually means. This is a daily practice of becoming the woman who already has what I desire. So every day I microanalyze. Are my beliefs aligned with my vision? I actually have a tool called the Soulful Schedule that I write these things down on a weekly basis, and I touch base with it every single day. I look at what my belief needs to be in order to reach a certain goal. Sometimes those are big goals, sometimes those are micro goals. I also look at whether or not my thoughts are reinforcing that belief. What are the thoughts that are in my mind? Are they thoughts of scarcity? Are they thoughts of, who do you think you are, Suzanne? You put out that new Instagram reel and it's a little bit more bold, it's a little bit more out there. Who do you really think you are? If those are the thoughts that are starting to creep in, then I know I have a little bit of work to do. And I line up what my beliefs need to be, what my thought needs to be, and how that translates over into my feelings. Because what is the feeling that you need to be in order to be a beautiful, powerful, bold CEO that might be coming from a feeling of excitement and inspiration and motivation, as opposed to the feelings of fear, doubt, tentativeness. And you need to think about whether or not those feelings are holding that frequency of that goal. And so on a daily basis, I make sure that the feelings that I'm having in my body, and sometimes I do this during my mindfulness sessions, I actually think, how am I feeling today? Why am I feeling a little bit frantic? Why am I feeling a little bit chaotic? Why am I feeling like I'm a little bit stuck in fear? And I work on actually transforming those and switching those and telling myself new stories. It's not as easy as just saying, have a new thought. There are tools that you need to use sometimes in order to create those thoughts. There are different practices and rituals that I teach inside my programs to help you do this. But it is a really powerful way to reach your goals and being the woman that has that vision in mind. And the last thing that is a part of the goal embodiment process are the actions. So the actions and the things you're doing every single day. So all of those embodiment actions, or I call them practices and rituals, are going to make me feel a certain way. And I write them down. I know this week, and I also track my cycle and I track what's going on astrologically. There's a lot of different moving parts, because this really has to do with our energy, the energy around us, and maybe sometimes the energy of others that's coming in. And I need to think about, okay, what's happening this week? I have a really busy week, or I'm going on holiday. Also, what's happening in your body and also in your life with kids and whatnot. You say, okay, I really feel like I'm going to need to be a bit more grounded this week. I feel like I really need to bed down in my meditation practice, and I'm going to do it every single day. I'm also going to schedule in things like my workout or my walk or that conversation with a friend. Those are the actions. I actually micromanage what I'm doing on a daily basis with all of those things that are fueling my body, fueling my soul, and fueling my energy, so that they make me feel a certain way. Because I know that if I am prioritizing my meditations and I'm prioritizing my fitness and my workouts, that it does make me feel excited and motivated and inspiring as a leader. And when I am feeling those things, the thoughts are there that reinforce the beliefs that I need to have to reach that goal. And so when your beliefs and your thoughts and your feelings and actions are not there, you can course correct gently but quickly. And the more, like I said, the more self-aware you become, the more that you can really tap into this. You don't want to wait for results to become her. So as you are becoming this woman, you don't want to wait for the results. You become her now and the results will follow. I like to think of it like fine-tuning a radio. You have to set your frequency to the station. I'm turning the dial like an old school radio, but you have to set your frequency to the station that you want before you hear the music. And when I was operating like a worker bee, hustling and over-delivering and constantly doing, I was exhausted and I completely plateaued and burned out. My success felt really fragile, like it could collapse if I took one day off. But when I started embodying the queen bee energy, nourishing my body, moving my energy, creating mind space, being really intentional with my thoughts and my actions, everything changed. Clients started coming in a lot more effortlessly and opportunities found me. My growth became more sustainable, more joyful, and a whole lot less dependent on the hours that I worked. And so really, I want you to shift your thinking around busyness and having a full calendar, because busyness is not a badge of success. Alignment truly is. And your energetic expansion is how you move from being a reactive hustler to a magnetic leader, or from that worker bee into being a queen bee. It is how we build businesses that honor our lives and not consume them. And so if this is resonating with you, and if you are ready to stop operating like a worker bee and fully step into your queen bee energy, I would love to invite you to my upcoming Life-Changing Income Masterclass. Inside this masterclass, I'm going to walk you through the exact framework that I teach my clients to create multiple six-figure businesses without sacrificing your schedule, your sanity, or your soul. So imagine building a business where you're not chasing success, you're embodying it. Picture yourself moving through business like a force of nature, not completely burning out, but truly blazing a sustainable trail. Clients feel it, opportunities multiply, and income becomes the natural side effect, not the only goal. So if you're ready to build life-changing income and learn about this framework that has both the embodiment of your CEO energy as well as some really strong strategic drivers, and do so in a very life-first and soul-led way, then this masterclass is your next step. It's absolutely free, and it is all about helping you scale smarter, because scaling smarter isn't just about what you do, it's about who you become. So in the description, wherever you're watching this video or listening to this podcast, you can find the link in the description to this completely free masterclass. And I want you to remember this as you walk away. Success without sacrifice isn't a fantasy. It's a decision. It's a daily embodiment, and it's absolutely available to you starting right now. And so if this episode has resonated with you, be sure to hit subscribe so that you don't miss future episodes. And if you have a biz bestie or other women entrepreneurs who need to hear this, I would love you to share this episode with her or with your social media. Screenshot it and tag me on my Instagram @Suzanne. Let's spread the message that you can grow your business without sacrificing what matters most. Thank you so much for listening today, and I really look forward to seeing you the next time.